Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to Player One and Player Two Sports for our Week 5 predictions. Hope you've been enjoying our predictions so far. I think we've been doing pretty decent. So let's get into it.
Also, make sure you guys go like, comment, and subscribe, and check out our Instagram and our Twitter for more questions, polls, and all that fun. First off, we got the Thursday night game, the Rams versus the Seahawks, and I think the Rams win this game. The Seahawks don't really seem to be like the Seahawks of past, yet the Rams continue to look strong out there, even though the game was not as close against the Cardinals, but they're still that team regardless, and that's why I think they win this one.
I also think the Rams win this game. I think the Seahawks have looked like they've been struggling in games that they should be winning. I think that Russell Wilson isn't playing to his full capacity. The defense looks like it's been struggling. And the Rams, I think last week was a fluke. I mean, I think the Cardinals are a solid team, but I think the Rams played way worse than they could have. So I have them winning this game and getting their first divisional win.
Next up, we have the Miami Dolphins versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I have the Bucs winning this game. I feel like this is a pretty simple answer. You know, the Bucs are the Bucs, and the Dolphins just can't seem to hit their stride at all, whether it's offense, defense, or anything in between. Tom Brady looks like Tom Brady, and even though that the game against the Patriots was really close, I still think that they're, exactly where they were last year.
I have to agree. The Bucs are looking pretty solid. I mean, they had some bumps in last week's game, but they're still the most dominant team in the league, I would say. Actually, the Rams beat them, but I think they're just going to turn it around, and I think they come out on top in this game. I think the Dolphins have really been struggling and just have not looked very good this year. Next up, we have the New York Jets versus the Atlanta Falcons. Now, this one I think could go either way. They're both teams that have not been very good this year. The Falcons, their offense hasn't been as explosive as it should have been. The Jets kept being the Jets. That's all I can really say about that. Although I do have the Falcons winning this game, I think the addition to Cordell Patterson really brings out a lot more opportunities in that offense, and he's been doing really well this year. Although the Jets beat a better team last week, I think that might have been a fluke since they lost their 2-star receivers. So, yeah, I definitely am taking the Falcons this week.
I have the Jets winning this one. The Falcons did look great last week. But the thing that the Jets did great was they did stop Derrick Henry, and I did not think that was going to happen. That defense looked really good against the Titans, and they got pressure on Tannehill, which is his biggest weakness. He didn't have any time to throw. So even if he did have Julio and A.J. Brown, I think it would have still been the same story. The Falcons do have Cordell Patterson now, which I think is a huge piece of that offense. It really expands what they can do. But, again, this game is definitely a 50-50 game, but I have the Jets winning this one.
Next up, we have the Green Bay Packers versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, this game, I think the Packers are going to be taking. I know the Bengals have looked really good. They've been surprising a lot of people. And the Packers had a rough start, but they turned it around, and now I think they're back to last season's form. I think they're, again, going to be the same old Packers, and I think they're going to definitely take this game.
I also think they're going to take this game. I just think that they're on a whole different level than the Bengals are, although the Bengals do look really good this season. Just Aaron Rodgers in his stride is really taking this team to the next level. Obviously, you need your quarterback to play well, but I just think the Packers are on a whole nother level. Next up, we have the Detroit Lions versus the Minnesota Vikings, and this one is kind of tough because I think the Vikings can be really hit or miss when it comes to games. Off the top of my head, I think the Vikings win this one. I think it's a pretty close game. Detroit still hasn't, how would I say it? Detroit still hasn't
put it together.
Yeah, put it together all the way. And the Vikings are still figuring things out as well, but I think they're just the better team overall.
I have to agree. I'm going to go with the Vikings here. I think the Vikings have showed a lot of flashes this year. Although they have had their struggles, I think that they're going to beat the Lions. Although, not to discredit the Lions have been a lot more competitive this year than more people expected, even though they got shut out last week, or not almost shut out last week. But yeah, I think the Vikings are going to take this. I think right now they're a better team and they're more whole and complete.
Next up, we have the Denver Broncos versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I think the Broncos bounce back this week and get a win. Steelers don't really look like they have any direction to that team, and although the Broncos before this last week haven't really faced a formidable foe, I think they definitely put it together against the Steelers, who, again, I don't think have really found a direction in their season yet.
I'm going to go with the Steelers on this one. With Teddy B taking that big hit, I I think he might miss a week. And although I wouldn't expect the Steelers to get many wins while they still have Big Ben as their starting QB, I think their defense is going to pull them out of this, and I think they're going to win this game. Next up, we have the New Orleans Saints versus the Washington football team. Now, the Saints have been really hit or miss, and the Washington football team has been struggling a lot more than they should. Their defense kind of fell off. With that being said, I think I am going to go with the football team. Even though they have not been consistent, they've stayed competitive in most of their games, while the Saints can either blow you out or just not look good at all. So I think I'm going to go with the football team on this. I think Heineke is a really solid starter. And I'm hoping that their defense starts turning it around and they start looking like they did last year.
I have to agree with you. I have the Washington football team winning this game, even if with the Saints, they have ability to score a lot of points, but also the football team showed that they could do the same. But I think the Washington's defense will definitely put it together as the season goes on, and I think that's what stops Jameis Winston from absolutely going off.
Next up, we have the Eagles-Panthers. Now, the Panthers just had their undefeated streak ended by the Cowboys, who are a really solid team, so it's not like it's a big knock against them. And the Eagles are coming off a loss against the Chiefs, although they have been looking very competitive this year. With that being said, I'm going to go with the Panthers. I think they bounce back and, start looking good again. I think it'll be a very close game. I think the Eagles will stay being very competitive in their games. But I think the Panthers are going to edge them out in this one.
I have the Eagles winning this game. I think this is going to be one of those games that people are going to look at and kind of brush over it. But as the game progresses and people are seeing the score, I think a lot more people are going to tune in. The Panthers do look great, and it's really tough for me not to choose the Panthers in this game. But I just think, the Eagles coming out and putting up as many points as they did and looking competitive against the Chiefs, I think it really shows something. I think they're going to continue it in this week. Next up, we have the Tennessee Titans versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I have the Titans winning this game. If they could just get one of those two receivers back next week, I think it's going to really open up that offense. Like I said earlier in the video, if you get pressure on Tannehill, it's really tough for him to throw the ball. The Jags are starting to, I think, take strides to, maybe winning a couple games. Who knows? But I definitely think it's a lot more competitive than people will think, especially with the way that the Jets played against them. I think they're going to definitely look at that film and learn a thing or two about how to, go up against, Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill. But I do think the Titans are the better team overall going into this game, and I think that's why they win.
I also have the Titans winning this game. I think that the Jags have been getting better over this season, but I think now Urban Meyer has started to become a distraction, and that's going to weigh on the team. With the Titans being as competitive as they could be with their starting receivers back, I don't think the Jags are going to win this one. Maybe if they had a different coach, I could see them winning this game. But with Urban Meyer, I don't see that happening.
Next up, we have the New England Patriots versus the Houston Texans. And, the Houston Texans got absolutely humiliated against the Bills. But it's the Bills that they played against. But I do have the Patriots winning this one. They looked great against the Bucs, really holding down that explosive offense. I think they're definitely putting the pieces together. You could definitely see that they're building each week. I also think that the Texans won't be able to really keep up with Bill Belichick and his schemes and stuff like that, so that's why I have the Patriots winning this one.
I also have the Patriots winning this game. There's not much to be said about it. I mean, the Texans are looking like they were supposed to look now without Tyrod Taylor, and the Patriots have, are starting to build towards looking better. Again, they came close to beating the Bucs. They just made a few mistakes and maybe some wrong choices towards the end of the game. So I think the Patriots are coming out with this one. Next up, we have the Chicago Bears versus the Oakland Raiders. I have the Raiders winning this game. I know the Bears have turned it around, but with the Chicago Bears, they usually win a game against a bad team and they start looking good, and you're like, wow, they're not as bad as as we thought they are. Although the Raiders have been undefeated, for the first 3 weeks of the season. So I think I'm going to have them winning this game. They just seem like a better team, and I'm not going to let 1 week determine the outcome or the season outlook of a team.
I completely agree with you. I have the Raiders winning this game. They're just all around a better team in my opinion. The Bears definitely do that thing where they win a game and everyone's all hyped about them. They're like, okay, maybe they are turning it around, but then they're going to go up against a really good team in the Raiders, and I think they're going to look back to how they've been. I think Derek Carr comes out and has a field day, but overall, I think the Raiders win this one. Next up, we have the Cleveland Browns versus the Los Angeles Chargers, and I think I'm going to go with the Browns on this game. They didn't put up much points last week, but I think going into this week, they're going to fix their problems, on offense and on defense. And although the Chargers are a really explosive team, I think they'll be able to put the pieces together, like I said. Hopefully Baker Mayfield, can hit Odell more, I'd say, because he's a great deep threat, and most of the, weapons that they have on that offense are more so middle route guys. I think Nick Chubb finally looked like he, put up a pretty good game. I think he had 100 yards, I believe, or something close to that. It's going to be tough for the Raiders to stop that if Nick Chubb continues, and Kareem Hunt looks like he might be running back one on that team, in my opinion. But I do think this is going to be one of the closer games. I think it's going to be super exciting. I think it's going to come down to the wire.
I have the Chargers winning this game. The Browns, they look like they have really struggled for the majority of their wins. They just have not looked as good as I thought they would have this year. I thought they were going to come out and look reasonably dominant. But the Chargers, on the other hand, have looked great. They've beaten stiff competition. I feel like they've been cheated out of a few wins just from referees and dumb penalties. But I have them winning this game. I think it'll be a very competitive game, but I can just see the Chargers coming out with the win. Next up, we have the New York Giants against the Dallas Cowboys. Now, this game probably won't be very close. The Cowboys are looking like a contender this year. Meanwhile, the Giants look like they've taken a step back, even though they are coming off a win. But overall, they look like they're just not ready to make a push this year. So I'm definitely going with the Cowboys. They have an explosive offense. Their defense is surprising a lot of people, so I think they come away with the win.
I completely agree with you. That offense is looking fantastic this year. The Giants still haven't really shown that they've put any pieces together, and it would be really tough for me to pick the Giants in the situation, so I definitely have the Cowboys winning this one. Next up, we have the San Francisco 49ers against the Arizona Cardinals, and I have the Cardinals winning this game, and I'm going to make this one my lock of the week. The Cardinals looked fantastic. I thought, they put a couple wins together, but now they're going up against one of the Super Bowl contenders, in my opinion, and they blew them out, or they just put up a whole bunch of points on them, and I think that definitely shows how strong of a team that Cliff Kingsbury's put together. I think the 49ers are a really shaky team. They show up one week, then they don't show up. But I think the Cardinals take advantage of that and win this game.
I'm also going with the Cardinals. The 49ers are just another team that's been really struggling to get their wins. Meanwhile, the Cardinals have looked very dominant. They're still undefeated. Like Lucas said, put up a bunch of points against the team that everyone thought was number one in the NFL right now. I think they're coming out. I think they're surprising a lot of people. Most people thought they might not make the playoffs and they might be the worst in their division, but it's looking like they might be the best.
Next up, we have the Buffalo Bills versus the Kansas City Chiefs, and I'm going to go with the Bills on this one. The Chiefs, how do I say this? They're a great team, but they look shaky. If that makes any sense. But the Bills, I think they're hitting their stride. They look better and better every week, and the Chiefs still need to fill some sort of holes on their roster that, definitely on that defense. They're banged up, right? They have a couple injuries, I believe, on that defense.
No, I don't even think so. I'm also going with the Bills. The Chiefs have just not looked very good this year, even though they've been winning games. They were a botched punt away from being 1-3 right now. Patrick Mahomes looks like he's getting really overconfident out there and is making dumb plays that could be leading to interceptions or are leading to interceptions. In order for that team to probably come out with a win, their offense would have to put up a bunch of points because the defense can't stop anything, it's looking like. Meanwhile, the Bills are looking really solid. Their offense is very explosive. Josh Allen's back into form from last year. And that defense has really been surprising people. It looks like it's one of the top defenses this year. So I think that the Bills are going to come away with this. And I might say that it won't be very close. Now we got the Monday night game, the Baltimore Ravens versus the Indianapolis Colts, and I have the Ravens taking this one. The Colts have just been really struggling this year with Carson Wentz's injury problems and their defense not looking as good as they should be. I'm definitely going with the Ravens. The Ravens, although very injury prone, have been really coming out and shocking people with certain wins. I think that Lamar Jackson is hitting his stride as a passer. And now it's catching up with his running ability. I know for a fact that the Ravens will put up 100 rushing yards because they've made it obvious from last week that is something they are actively striving for. And that defense has looked surprisingly good.
I also have the Ravens winning this game. That I don't think that Colts defense can be able to keep up. They definitely got a gimme win against the Dolphins this week. Like Carson said, Lamar Jackson's completely opening up the offense with his improved ability to pass. I think the Ravens pretty much take this game away. I wouldn't be surprised if they blew them out.
So those are our Week 5 picks. Hope you guys enjoyed. Comment down below what your picks are, and we'll see you next week.